Hey guys, it's Ifter, and I'm back with more Corpse Party Book of Shadows as Yui in a major flashback where she is now run back to the school where 7 o'clock is about to hit, which is when some dead lady is supposed to roam the halls. Let's see if that's actually true. This hallway feels longer today than it ever has before. Was it always like this? Can't imagine I'd ever be on time if it were. I continued my brisk walk down the impossibly long hallway toward my goal, jumping every now and again whenever another thunderclap sounded. Kisaragi Academy was comprised of both a middle school and a high school, and this evening it really felt like it was flaunting its massive size. It didn't help that my classroom was in the high school wing, which happened to be past the middle school, making it seem that much farther away. When a building that's usually so full of life goes completely quiet, it becomes such a lonely place. I swear I can hear every drop of rain. I was focusing on the scant few sounds around me as I paced down that long, lonely corridor. Then, all of a sudden, I heard a faint noise as of someone playing an organ. Well, I'm sure someone's at school. That was just my imagination, right? I mean, it had to be. There's no way anyone would still be here practicing, right? I took a deep breath, trying to calm my nerves. It was probably the sounds of the rain, wind, and thunder mixing together. It just sounded like an organ, that's all. I was convinced. I kept walking. But then, I heard the same noise again. This time much more clearly. It was unmistakable. No way! I was paralyzed with fear. My heart was pounding as if it were struggling to break free of someone's sinister grip. It's probably just some devoted member of the band, or a teacher who's working late. I'm just being stupid. Thinking about it, I vaguely recalled someone mentioning an upcoming performance by the Wind Instrument Club. I guess an organ would qualify. Somebody must have just stayed late to practice, that's all. I can't get that damned ghost story out of my head. I took another deep breath and tried again to calm my overly jittery nerves. Anything can be scary if you think it is. I'd heard that if you let your imagination run too wild, fear can even make you see things that aren't there. My imagination was most definitely running wild. I'm almost there. I might as well sprint the rest of the way. Sure. I decided to dash toward my classroom so I could get out of this hall as quickly as possible. Finally reaching that familiar door, I swiftly opened it and flicked on the lights. Alright, I made it. Now I just have to be absolutely certain I don't leave here without that pen case again. Thanks to all my unexpected pauses to freak out over thunder and lightning, it took me far longer than it should have to get here. It was already well past 7. 7 o'clock, huh? It was the appointed time when the ghost of a teacher was supposed to appear. At least, according to the school legend. No undead educators here. I let out a sigh of relief and relaxed my shoulders a bit. The lights were on both the inside the classroom and out in the hallway. Sure, it was still dead silent, but the fear I'd been feeling had completely melted away. Yep, there's nothing to be afraid of. The 7 wonders aren't real. I grabbed the pen case I'd come back for and shoved it into my pocket. Okay, mission accomplished. With my long ordeal behind me, more or less, I looked around the classroom and let out another sigh. I'd only ever known this classroom when it was bustling with activity, and thus found its eerie silence and utter stillness to be oddly fascinating. Such a strange feeling being alone in a classroom like this. I got the idea in my head to try doing something I normally wouldn't be able to, like standing at the teacher's podium and writing on the blackboard. Chances like this don't come around too often, after all. To me, the area behind that podium from which teachers conduct their lessons was like a sacred space. I dreamed of standing there myself one day. You can hardly resist its pull when presented with a rare opportunity like this. Well, no one's looking. To my classmates, this would seem like such a silly, stupid dilemma. But that didn't change the way I felt at that moment. Should I or shouldn't I? We're actually being given choices. Okay. Well, that's something I'm going to save for. Why would this be important? I feel like... Let's just try and leave the room and see what happens. Okay, I really don't have time to play around right now. I should get out of here. I decided it would be best to put my yearnings aside and leave the classroom behind. Well, that particular wonder turned out to be nothing at all, it seems. Guess it's all just superstition. Couldn't believe I'd gotten all indignant with Tsukasa for something so trivial. Thinking about it now, it seemed kind of ridiculous. Alright, time to head home. I have to get to bed early, so I'll be ready for tomorrow. With this in mind, I walked toward the classroom door and took one step out into the hall. When suddenly... Huh? The door slid shut on its own with incredible force. My neck was trapped in the narrow opening that remained. I dug my nails into the door, frantically trying to open it back up. The more I pushed on it, the more it pushed back, really constricting my neck. I was flailing my limbs, twisting and contorting my body, trying everything I could to escape. What? Why? My neck was clamped tightly. I could feel the blood rushing to my head. I couldn't breathe. Opening my mouth in terror, I stuck my tongue out as if trying to swallow the air. Forcefully shaking my head left and right, I swiveled my body to face the ceiling. That's when I saw the tall, pitch-black silhouette of a person. A silent scream squirmed its way out of my throat, but the door was still pressing onto my neck. I can't! Tsukasa! My vision whirled and I felt a sensation of falling. At the same time, a lukewarm liquid began pouring over my face. What? As I was struggling to make sense of what was happening to me, the door that had been violently crushing my neck quietly slid open. The floor of the schoolhouse came down hard on my head. My vision had begun white and begun blurring, but I could still see. I could see my body. I was rolling across the hallway, and there in the doorframe I caught sight of my own headless torso, collapsing in a heap on the floor. What just happened? Last thing I saw out of the corner of one bloodshot, unfocusing eye was the familiar figure of the old woman from this morning. Okay. So I guess Yui had previous experiences with the heavenly hosts? That seems different. Alright, and obviously we're gonna stand at the teacher's podium. How can I pass this up? It's a chance to feel like a real teacher. I decided I had to try it. During daily cleanup and such, I'd come and gone from the spot countless times. But this was the first time I'd ever had an opportunity to just stand here and preside over the classroom. So this is how it looks to a teacher, huh? It's kind of awe-inspiring. Getting a teacher's point of view in the most literal sense is starting to get me really fired up. It may seem silly now, but this was my stage. This was where all my dreams would play out. Someday. I began to imagine the future that awaited me, painstakingly detailing some new piece of knowledge for students sitting attentively at their desks. Gliding chalk across the board, filling it with information to aid them in their studies. I sure hope I can make the cut one of these days. I was getting so excited that even I began to think my behavior was a little strange. Maybe it was the juxtaposition of these joyous, freeing visions, and the prickling dread I'd been feeling up until just a minute or two before. But then, in the blink of an eye, one of these two conflicting emotions completely overpowered the other. Huh? Crap! Is this a blackout? Suddenly, my surroundings were bathed in darkness. Going stiff with shock, I stumbled back a step. My back struck the blackboard with a dull thud. What awful timing! I instinctively grabbed hold of the rail where the erasers sat. I felt chalk dust against my fingertips. My panicked heartbeat was making it difficult to breathe. Was this caused by the thunderstorm? If so, it sure picked a fine time to turn the lights out on me. What's more, I can still hear the sound of the organ. But no, it's an electric organ. How is that even possible? You must not go! Was this what the old woman was trying to warn me about? That's impossible. She was no fortune teller or psychic as far as I was aware. How could she possibly have known this would happen? I mean, you've got no guarantee of either of those things. Hell, even if she were a fortune teller or a psychic, predicting the future is the stuff of science fiction. I shook my head. Is it really science fiction? Wouldn't that just be fiction? I need to calm down. Maybe it's just this wind that lost power and the music room is still okay. That seems plausible, right? I curled my chalk-dusted fingers into a fist and silently tried to talk some sense into myself. I gotta get out of here. I shouldn't have been playing teacher. I should have been in and out by now. Cursing myself a little, I fumbled my way through the darkened classroom. Eck! I spent so much time in here, you'd think I'd be able to find my way out of it with my eyes closed, as it were. But sadly, that wasn't the case. Smashing loudly into a desk, I knocked it on its side and began tumbling after it, instinctively grabbing at other desks around me for support. Oof. Damn it! Sounds like I knocked a lot of stuff out of that desk. Guess I'll need to put everything back. Still fumbling around blindly, I gathered up the scattered notes, textbooks, and writing utensils. I can't tell what's what. It's so embarrassing. What the heck am I doing anyway? Wasn't I supposed to be hurrying home? I'm such a klutz. I let out a sigh. I seem to be doing that a lot lately. Okay, this is a textbook, and this is a notebook, right? I was trying to take inventory of all the things I knocked out of the desk and realized, why? I might as well just stand it up and stuff it all back in. Couldn't possibly organize it properly in absolute darkness. Better just to apologize tomorrow to whoever sits here. Not that that was a particularly pleasant prospect. Explaining what I'd done wouldn't be easy, and no matter how I sugarcoated it, it would serve as a clear indication of my clumsiness. If I didn't say anything, it's not like I'd be found out. That would be the same as lying as far as I'm concerned, and I couldn't do that. Okay, I think I got everything. I placed my hand against the floor and swept it around, feeling for anything I might have missed. And I found something, all right. Ow. Ew, gross. What is this? It's all slimy. Ugh. I clearly brushed my fingers across something, but I had no idea what. There's no notebook or writing implement, though, that's for sure. Why would somebody have something like this in their desk? Maybe it'd been on the floor all along. What is this stuff? I rubbed my sticky fingertips a bit deeper into the wet spot, then brought my hand up close to my face so I could get a better look at what was there. What on earth did I just touch? Eek! There was a flash of lightning almost immediately joined by a roaring thunderclap. And with it for a split second, the pitch-black classroom was lit up bright as day. Is that blood? I shot to my feet, utterly mortified. In that split second, I got a very good look at my fingers, and they really did seem as if they were covered in blood. But it wasn't just my hand. No, if my peripheral vision were to be trusted, it looked like the entire classroom was stained a deep, dark crimson. Crap. Kinda smells like blood in here, too. Without thinking, I backed away from where I had been crouching. I tried rationalizing what I saw. How could a whole classroom become a bloodbath like this? Did something spill? Did someone stumble in here injured? This isn't possible. It can't be. I mean, how? My whole body was quaking. I fled from the classroom. Or rather, I tried to flee. Why won't it open? No, please, no! I don't remember locking it, and it isn't locked. So why can't I get it open? I pulled on the door handle again and again in a frenzy. I was pulling so hard it felt like my fingernails might tear loose. But it just wouldn't budge. Why? Please! I was absentmindedly grabbing at my hair with one hand and slamming my fist on a nearby desk with the other. This was a nightmare. Please, no! What's going on? Silence saturated the inky blackness of the room. I took several deep breaths in an effort to restrain my pounding heart. Calm down. I have to calm down. I'm probably just panicking because the door won't open. I'm sure I just misidentified whatever that is on the floor. It's preposterous, right? There's no way something like that could be. I was certain that when I saw what it actually was come morning, it ended up being something totally random, like someone's old soda-stained gym clothes. That has to be it, yeah. I probably just brushed against somebody's paint for art class or something. My imagination was just running wild because I was panicking. The door probably just has something caught in it, that's all. I decided to check out that hypothesis by feeling my way across the door and determine if anything was jutting out from any of the cracks. Damn. Not sure I can do this without being able to see. I fumbled around the gaps in the door, but I just couldn't make anything out that way. Maybe there's another exit. No, this was the third floor. I couldn't get out of here without exiting into the hallway. Let me out. I want out. Still at a loss, I noticed a sudden flash of light through the hallway window. But the glass was only translucent, so I couldn't be sure of its source. Is somebody out there? Then there came the distinctive clomp, clomp, clomp of footsteps. Oh, of course, it must be the custodian. I recalled the existence of the custodian who always patrolled the school grounds. I'm sure he was probably taking a look around after the sudden power outage. Great, I'm saved! All at once, my fear-addled legs regained their strength. This nightmare would soon be over. Excuse me! I shouted at the custodian at the top of my lungs through the window. Excuse me, I'm trapped in here. I had to be sure he heard me. I shouted again. Finally, I could see the light out in the hallway again, and it seemed to be getting closer. However, something's not right about this. Perturbed, I took a step away from the window. That's a flashlight. Shouldn't it be brighter? It kind of looks like the faint, unearthly glow classically attributed to spirits. What was I thinking? I tried to stop myself from finishing that thought, however. Dullness aside, it also looked like it was wriggling around in a very unnatural, very unflashlight-like way. And these footsteps. Clomp, 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 clomp. 4 clomps in a 3 or so second interval. Then another 4 clomps. They were sounding in a fixed rhythm. That's no custodian. Nobody walks like that. The fear was back in full force. I had to find somewhere to hide. What if I'd accidentally summoned something inhuman? I mean, whatever that was, I begged it for help. I literally invited it in. I need to hide, but where? Supply locker? I hurriedly squeezed myself into the metal locker where the classroom's cleaning supplies were kept. It was still pitch black in the room, so I really couldn't spare the time it would take to remove its contents. Instead, I just contorted myself to fit. The locker was thick with the smells of mold and varnish. If I can hold my breath for just a little while, I think I'll be safe in here. So I waited. I waited for the footsteps to pass by and fade into the distance, signaling that it was safe to emerge. Whoever it is had better hurry. I feel like I'm going to suffocate if I'm in here much longer. Still, it felt a lot safer in the locker than it did out in the room. But the footsteps weren't receding. They were just getting louder, closer, faster. That's actually horrifying. Rat-a-tat-tat-tat. And then they came to a sudden halt. Huh? They were close. Just outside the locker. I peered through the ventilation holes. Amidst the utter darkness of the classroom, there wasn't a soul to be seen. I'm okay. As long as I stay in here, I'll be fine. I'm not sure why I believed that. Maybe because I needed to. Maybe because it was so dark. Because I felt so much calmer in such a tight space. Where nothing could possibly sneak up behind me. I didn't know why, and I didn't care. I just knew that, as far as I was concerned, I was safe in here. So I stood, motionless and cramped, and I waited. I didn't have to wait long. What? What's that? It sounded like a door locking. Suddenly apprehensive, I gently nudged the supply closet door just to make sure it would still open for me when I wanted it to. No, it's locked! Found you. I let out a sudden yelp at this unknown voice. Was that Sachiko or was that someone else? I let out a sudden yelp at this unknown voice and tried with all my might to push open the door, blocking my escape. No, please, let me out, let me out! Is somebody still here? You'll need to be punished for that. Huh? There was a brief moment of silence following the eerie voice's unsettling proclamation. And then, crash, crunch. The metal walls around me on all sides began warping inward, as if the supply locker had somehow been fed to a trash compactor. Ow! What's going on? There was no force I could imagine that should have been able to do this, but it was happening. This already confined space was steadily closing in on me. It hurts! Open the door, let me out! Crash, crunch. The collapse of the locker all around me continued, slowly and steadily. I could feel all manner of things pushing and cutting into my body. My vision went bright red. One of the blood vessels in my eyes probably burst from the pressure. I wasn't going to last much longer. The ventilation holes in the locker door were now pressed right up against my face, and through them I could just barely make out the figure of a person. It was the old woman from this morning. She was standing just outside the slats, staring right into my eyes. It was the last sight I would ever see as the locker finally, inevitably, smashed in my skull. Crash, crunch, crack, splat. And that was our second wrong end. I think there's supposed to be 5 in this chapter. So, obviously, that means at least 5 more choices for us. Probably more. But that's actually it for me for now. So next time we'll go back in and hide behind the teacher's podium. Which seems like that was a bad choice, but whatever. So until then, everybody, take care.